Good morning, everyone. My name is Tracy Van Proy, and I'm from Heartland Community College. I'm the facilitator for this session. I wanted to welcome everyone to the 11th Annual Growing Online Learning Conference presented by the Illinois Community Colleges Online. The theme for this 2019 conference is Accessibility, the Road to Success. We hope that this year's conference will provide strategies and practices for colleges and faculty to use to improve accessibility in online instruction. As I said, I'm Tracy Van Proyen, Director of Online Learning and Instructional Technologies at Heartland Community College in Normal, Illinois, and I'll be the moderator for this session. This session is really a panel presentation entitled Moving Down the Road to Success, how different learning management systems address accessibility, and it's going to be presented by Kona Jones from Richland Community College, who will be providing information about accessibility options in Canvas. Dr. Selom Assignon from Harold Washington College will be providing information about accessibility options in Brightspace D2L, and Lara Tompkins from College of DuPage will be providing information about Blackboard and LA. ILCCO would like to thank College of DuPage for providing a web conferencing platform for this year's conference. College of DuPage is an ILCCO member. Our conference schedule for the last 3 days is currently on the screen and can be also found at the conference website at ilcco.net under Resources and Events. Links to attend the live sessions will be found on your registration confirmation email and on the conference page. If you've got any questions or registration about accessing the sessions, please contact Jeff Newell, and his address is here. Archives for these presentations will be available at the conference site on ilcco.net following the conference. So ILCCO is pleased to welcome the following three presenters for this session. Kona Jones is the Director of Online Learning and coordinates faculty academies at Richland Community College. She's responsible for the assessment of online courses and initiatives, providing instructional design and pedagogical support to faculty, development of faculty, and student technology training materials. She also oversees faculty professional development. Kona serves as a technology resource for the college, as well as an adjunct instructor of statistics and developmental psychology. She is also a Canvas coach and a Canvassador, contributing extensively in the online Canvas community and elsewhere. Kona's academic background includes MS degrees in quantitative and cognitive psychology, undergraduate degrees in biology, psychology and history, and PhD coursework in instruction. Our second presenter is Dr. Selom Assignon and is the Instructional Design Manager at Harold Washington College. And before his current position, Selom was the Dean of Dawson Technical Institute of Kennedy King College. With more than 14 years in curriculum development experience and with a multidisciplinary background in education, foreign language, management information system, and emerging technologies, Selom is also an adjunct faculty member who teaches online computer information system courses and is an exemplary course design award recipient. Before pursuing his passion for higher education, he worked as a business instructor and office manager at Cape Coast Polytechnics in Ghana. Lara Tompkins is a visually impaired instructional and creative technologist and underground accessibility specialist at College of DuPage. She graduated from the College of DuPage and has worked in both faculty and student-facing support roles in higher education for almost 11 years. Her interests vary and include facilitating technical pilots such as Google Apps for Education, conducting usability and accessibility tests of the LMS and instructional technologies, accessibility and technology consulting for faculty and staff, content remediation, technical writing, and front-end web development. I'd like to thank Kona, Selom, and Lara for the session, and let's go ahead and get started. Welcome. Kona, you want to take it away?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Tracy, and thank you everyone for joining. We've got a pretty robust group, and it's wonderful to see quite the mixture of learning management systems from all of you. I think all of the different learning management systems are pretty well represented, and I hope you all learned something not only about your current learning management system, but it's also good to know things about your other learning management systems that are available. So for this one, I am going to be focused on Canvas. And for Canvas, I think a big thing is just their overall accessibility is really important to them. I know for everything they do, they try to keep accessibility in mind. So they provide a voluntary product assessment template and it's a tool that administrators and decision makers can actually use to evaluate Canvas's conformance with the accessibility standards under Section 508 and the Act, the WCAG 2.0. So they provide this template. They also do the web AIM organization. They go through the evaluations, and they just do a lot. If you want more information about it, you can always go to that link. But the big thing is kind of the overall picture is that accessibility is important to Canvas. What Canvas has initially in terms of accessibility to help with that is an accessibility checker. So it does only verify content created within the rich content editor. So that is a limitation to it. But otherwise, it's actually pretty powerful and will cover a number of different things. So you can see that if you were to use this, and you use it by just clicking on the little the little accessibility icon, it's right next to kind of the paragraph button, if you can see that. I should have highlighted it. It'll bring up the accessibility checker, and then that guides you through all of the things that you need to do in order to make that page or that content accessible. So specifically, what does it check? So it verifies table captions, table header scope, table headers just overall, sequential headings, heading paragraphs, image alt text, image alt file names, image alt lengths, adjacent links, large text contrast, and small text contrast. So the great thing is that if you know nothing about any of these things, it doesn't matter, because Canvas does, and they will let you know, hey, this is how it's supposed to be set up. Do you want us to help you? And it will kind of guide you through fixing all of these different things. So I think that's probably my favorite part, and some of my faculty's favorite part, is that it doesn't matter if you don't know anything about it. And yes, it did have a number of false positives and negatives. I think it has improved. I know for us, we occasionally catch a false one, but overall, at least for my testing and my use of it, I use it in my own classes, I thought it's been pretty reasonably accurate. I mean, anytime something new comes out, it always got some bugs, but we've now had it now for at least a year or so, and it seems pretty accurate. But good question there, thank you. So it does access the rich content editor. Click the checker icon. Pop-up box lets you know how many issues you need to fix, and it just guides you through how to fix those issues. So pretty straightforward. And yeah, please do. And if you find that it is, Christine, if you think that it's not doing a good job, could you let me know? Maybe it's just in different uses of how people use it. And maybe for me, I'm just not using it in a way that it's popping that false negative or false positive, and maybe you are doing something. So yeah, if someone does have a different experience, let me know, because I would really like to know about that to better help my faculty. All right, so the next step up is a free tool. Now, it's not integrated directly in Canvas just from the get-go, but Canvas does kind of put it out there as, here's a great solution that you can get for free. You do have to install it and run it for your own Canvas instance, but I do know there are some of our Illinois community college schools who are using this tool and have been having a good experience with it. My college doesn't specifically use it, but like I said, I know of other colleges who do, and they've really gotten, I've gotten some good feedback on it. So it enables faculty to identify accessibility issues in their Canvas course content. And I'm sorry, it is the You Do It, the Universal Design Online Content and Inspection Tool. Lisa, we use it. Oh, great. And so here's a question right there. So if anyone has questions, Lisa can provide the more specifics there. But the thing that kind of takes You Do It up from just the general accessibility is that it does scan an entire course. It generates a report, provides resources on how to address the common accessibility issues. So once again, not built into Canvas, but it's an open source, so you can use it relatively for free, as long as you can, or someone at your college can help you download and run it on your Canvas environment. So what does You Do It that kind of takes it beyond additionally to what the built-in Canvas checker will do? It identifies errors and provides suggestions in the following areas. So it will actually check your announcements, assignments, discussions, files, pages, syllabus, module URLs. It'll also check for the use of the following, so proper use of headings and page structures, alternative text, table headers, color contrast, descriptive link video or descriptive link text, and video captions. So a lot of really great things here. Oh, and Susan brought up that City Labs is rolling out the cloud-based You Do It. Woohoo! All right, so some really great information there in the comment section. If you didn't see it, there's some great information there. Now, a solution that we do have at Richland, now it is a paid solution, so it's not built in to Canvas as part of Canvas, but ARC is actually out of the Instructure company that owns Canvas as well. So ARC is kind of a part of Canvas, it's just an extra paid part of Canvas. It is an audio and video solution. So we originally were looking at, we were having major caption problems at our college. We didn't have a good way to caption the videos that we had, both for our faculty and for the college. And so we started looking at a solution that would allow us to have, some good auto captioning. When we were doing this, we actually stumbled onto ARC and realized that ARC did like a million other things in addition to high quality auto captioning. So ARC easily creates and uploads videos, can edit these videos, can embed quiz questions directly into your video. So you could be reading through, or students could be watching it, and then like a quiz question could pop up. Students can comment on video. It's got analytics and high quality auto captioning. And so once again, that was kind of the main reason, but all of these other features kind of sold us on it. In addition, even though it is an extra cost, it was actually extremely reasonable and was costing us, right now, because we've just had it a year, it's cost us less than our previous video solution. So it does more, provides auto captions, and it was less than our previous solution. So a little more specifically, you can see that once you upload a video, a little caption thing would come up. You can request your captions. It is 85% accurate. It does have punctuation. It does have capitalization. I found that, and I think yesterday in one of the sessions, I think Scott actually talked about it, the better quality that of the video you create, the better the captions are going to be. And so I've definitely found, I think it's above 85% accurate for a number of my videos, but I also try to make sure I enunciate words clearly when I'm doing my videos. I try to make sure, that I'm using good quality microphone and all of that. But it does a great job with the captioning. It also will allow you, if you have different languages, now it won't convert it to a different language, but let's say you have a Spanish instructor and the Spanish instructor did their video in Spanish, it will caption in Spanish. So that's pretty cool. In fact, I know that there's been some instructors who have actually used this as an assignment to have students caption a video. So just kind of as a way to hear it and then they're typing it out. So it was kind of a cool idea, and I don't know, just an addition. So obviously it captions, but you can turn it into a learning experience as well. You can also add comments directly on the video as students are watching. In fact, just this last week, or actually it was this week, I had a student watching one of my videos in my class, and they got to a certain point in the video and they weren't sure what I meant, and they were just able to comment directly on that video, and then I could see the comment, see where it was at, and then respond to them. And so it kind of makes the video experience a little bit more interactive. And then, like I said, the quiz questions, you can just embed the quiz questions directly in your video. So as you're watching the video, it pops up. The beautiful thing, this is all completely integrated into Canvas. My faculty think it actually is just a built-in part of Canvas because it's so built into Canvas. Also provides analytics, and the analytics are actually pretty awesome because you can see exactly how much a student watched the video, and if they like fast forwarded, you can see that they fast forwarded and where they picked back up at. So I have to admit the analytics are a beautiful, beautiful thing. So some other potential accessibility tools. Ali is one. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on this one just because I know that you're going to hear a lot about it, and our last presenter is going to talk a lot about it. So I'm not going to kind of spill the beans, and not only that, but I don't know a huge amount, so I'm not going to talk a lot about it. But even though Ali is a Blackboard product, it actually does integrate and work with Canvas. I would say Ali is kind of the next step up beyond You Do It. So this one is a paid product, but from everything I've heard, it's a pretty slick and pretty awesome paid product that will check your whole course, will just give you a lot of amazing information. Also in terms of other video solutions, in terms of with accessibility, one that I'm familiar with, I've actually used it at a different college, was Screencast-O-Matic. It has easy video creation and editing, stores videos, integrates with Canvas. and you can add the captions. It is extra for auto captioning, but it is a pretty good product. So here are two other potential ones. They are both paid, but they will work as well. And then there's a lot of extra resources. So because Canvas really is kind of all in terms of accessibility, they've got, and I apologize that the links are running off the edge here. I can grab those links and kind of throw them in to the chat for you. But they've got a general accessibility design guidelines. And I really like this because it goes through, and if you're designing a course, and here's the link to that first one, it will kind of guide you through, here are the accessibility standards you should be using as you're designing a course. And so I think that's just a great handout. It's available completely for free. Anyone can go check it out in the Canvas community. And then they've got another accessibility within Canvas resource page, and that's the second link I just added into the chat window. And that one's another really great resource. It just kind of goes through all of the different ways that Canvas helps make the course and their content accessible. So you can see in terms of screen readers and just all sorts of information, it's got the full thing. And then the accessibility group in Canvas, the Canvas community, if you're a Canvas user and you haven't been in the community, you need to go check it out. The community is a pretty hot and happening place. And they actually have an entire group in the Canvas community just dedicated to accessibility. And I think that's pretty phenomenal. I actually am a member of that group, and it's the stuff that comes through that group is just really high quality or really good questions that make you sometimes go, wow, you know, I hadn't thought of that, or oh, that's a good workaround to something. So the accessibility group in the Canvas community is just a great group. If you're a Canvas user, well, actually, it doesn't matter if you're a user. This is all free. You can go out and you can join it and you can see all of these resources. But definitely, if you are a Canvas user, I would get into the community and I would check out these resources and how they might be able to help you. So thus ends my All About Canvas and Accessibility. And I'm going to pass it over to Selom.
Thank you, Kona. Thank you so much. Okay, the second presentation is going to be about Brightspace. And my name, as you can see, there is Selom. Now, people normally used to call it D2L, but D2L is the name of the company, and the actual product that they use, which is the LMS, is what is called Brightspace. Now, the City College of Chicago just moved from Blackboard after I think we used them for over 18 or 20 years. We just moved to Brightspace, and the first time we roll out all our courses to be in Brightspace is this particular semester, which is spring 2019. Now, when we talk about accessibility in all, Brightspace, you know, they normally put their product together and they follow the global accessibility standard, all with the intention that all assistive technologies can be used with it so that people who have any kind of disability can easily find themselves welcome in this particular learning management system. And the design of it was done with compliance of accessibility in mind. And as Kona just stated, the same way they also were guided by the WCA, which most of the time stand for Web Content Accessibility Checklist standard. They had that in mind, and they also openly normally publish their report once they take their system to go through the accessibility checklist. They publish the report to let folks know where they are in terms of making sure that their product are accessible. Now, the accessibility checker that we have in Brightspace is normally built into the HTML editor. That is the content area. Though when you go to those of you who are very familiar with Brightspace, when you go in, you would like to create a content, you go and create a content under the HTML editor. You can put in all the information that you have, and there is an icon which looks like a small eye, as is been shown here, like an eye. When you click on that, it's going to give you some kind of a checker about the content that you put together. So I put there a close image of one of them. It will tell you if, for example, you added a table that needs to be pretty much modified to make sure that it is accessible. It's going to tell you that this needs to be fixed. And the good thing is that when it tells you that this particular link here that you can see there, they highlighted. When you click on that, it's going to send you to a page with the instruction on how that can be fixed, that's the beauty of it. It's not telling you that you just need to fix it, but when you click on that, there's going to be some kind of a highlighted text. When you click on it, it's going to open up a new window, and it tells you that this is the way you'll be able to fix that particular problem. And it goes through each and every one of them. And the one thing I love about it is that when it comes to image, for example, you add an image to a content, is going to require you. If you say ignore, it's not going to ignore it until you pretty much add your alternative text to that particular image, describing the image. It's not going to allow you to move to the next step. Now, of course, some people who do not want to do that may select what we have, we call here to be, this image is decorative, which, based on best practice, I don't believe that you need to put an image in a content if that image has nothing to do with the content. But we know that some folks who are very visually like to really embed and flourish their content may add those things. So if you add it and you say this image is decorative, it's not going to require you to put the alternate text. But once again, I normally advise my colleagues against that. Don't put something there that you're not going to use. If you just put an image of a person smiling, which has nothing to do with the content, okay, why you put it in there? Explain why. Oh, it's gonna look nice. Yeah, but it hasn't got any purpose. So we normally encourage faculty that when they are creating their content, they should not go ahead and just add things that has nothing to do with it. And other stuff that it looks for, which I'm going to talk to you on the next page, is that it's really important to understand that this particular checker doesn't do, I'll put it, a great job like Ally does or the Canvas checker does, because the only way you are able to check the accessibility for a content is to go into each of the HTML editor step one by one, which is I would call it a huge disadvantage. That is what happened, because when we have a faculty here at City Colleges, we are working with them. They say, how will I be able to find that? So my answer is that you have to go to your content one at a time, which is, of course, is going to be time consuming. So it's not going to tell you that, give you a report and say that, oh, all these are wrong in your course. No, it's not going to tell you that, unlike Ally and the rest of the checker. So these are some of the, I would say, the accessibility issues that the accessibility checker in Brightspace actually verify. You use a paragraph and headings, of course, sequential heading, adjacent links, other link structure, and other link structure, also contrast radio. And that one I found out is very helpful, because if some people who want to put some kind of, let's say, a yellow background with a red font writing in it, it may tell you that that is something wrong with that, you need to fix it. The image alt text, of course, alt text file name, table caption, complex text summary, table caption and summary, table heading, scope, and markup heading. So these are things that when you put it in, of course, you are not supposed to look for that. The system, that means the checker, when you click on that eye, as you can see here, which is normally below right side of the field of that particular page that you type, when you click on that, it's going to give you a report that these are things that are wrong and these are the way that you can fix it. Now, the one thing I would like to also talk about before alluding to the free tools that I'm normally going to recommend some of the faculty to use, that when you even add a video with caption to the content, the accessibility checker is not going to tell you that that video either has a content or has a caption or does not have one. So that is one of the disadvantages also. Even if you add a document, let's assume you do have a PowerPoint document that you wanted to add to a particular content, it's not going to tell you whether that particular document is accessible. So that is, once again, the big disadvantage is that it's not going to be able to pinpoint every single accessible issue in the course. Unlike the Ally and the rest I was talking about. That is something that everyone using Brightspace needs to be aware of. Now, the free tools I'm talking about here, these are some of the tools that we have within the City College of Chicago, especially online learning. We are planning to really encourage some of our faculty to start using. The old transcribe works very simple. What you do is that when you open this, it's a free. All the three of them are free resources, because I'm one of those people who believe in open source applications. So the old transcribe, what it does is that if lately some of our faculty wants to go ahead and have a welcome, I would say a welcome message audio, or want to introduce a particular content by providing some kind of an audio lecture, what they can do is that they click on that. When they open, it opens in two windows, and you can type whilst you are talking, recording, whatever you are doing. You can type it on the second window. So it makes it so simple. And even when you talk about the voice here normally used to be called Vocera before they took the R out of it. That also worked well. And what happened is that when you use that, the good news, or what I love about it, is that you can download it on your either Apple phone or Apple iPad, or in an Android related device. So when you get that, you click on it, and whilst you are talking and recording your lecture, the actual transcription of the lecture goes along immediately. That means you don't have to type it anymore. So whilst I'm talking right now, if I'm talking through that particular application, what I'm saying is going to be typed. I mean, they are pretty much close to 95% correct. You can type all those stuff, and when you are talking, it's typing it, it's recording it at the same time, making the transcription very easy for you to do. And another one that is also free out there, which is the Google speech recognition, voice tool, is something that is even out there for people to use. So anything about caption in terms of audio, I normally the idea is to start recommending our faculty to start using this. Now for video transcription, a video caption, we think we are about to really look into getting a paid service. And 3Media Player is one of the companies we are looking at, so that we send all our videos to them. They go ahead and do all the transcription and the caption and send it back to us. So we are having a discussion right now at a higher level, including all the deans and the VPs, to see whether that would be the best way to use those video. Because we do have, some of our courses, I think, pretty much every course have a 1 or 2 video demonstrating something. So that is something that we are looking into. And finally, I want to mention that when you go into Brightspace learning environment, the way it is set up is such a way that it makes a user interface a little bit easier. In other words, the complaint we normally get from our faculty here is that it's too white, it's too blank. And the response that I normally give them is that, yes, it makes it so easy for someone who is let's say visually impaired, not to have issue in terms of you selecting a very colorful background and having another colorful font in that. That we do have that happening most of the time when we're using Blackboard. And sometimes the faculty, we have to really go to them and encourage them to change the outline or the picture, the background that they've selected for their whole class. And sometimes they are not happy about it, but we work with them to make sure that this is done. So what happens is that when you look at Brightspace per se, and you look at the learning environment, it's so easy to the extent that you see a white background or a gray background, and all colors that are available in Brightspace, they are all accessible because they've been tested to be accessible. So that is something that we normally encourage our faculty to use. And at the same time, they do have a couple of templates which are a little bit colorful, but once again, with the idea that colors that they selected, the image, the pictures, everything they selected are accessible. So in a nutshell, Brightspace is doing its best to make sure that accessibility issues are taken care of. And my last comment that I would like to make is that I had a talk with the director of accessibility for D2L, because D2L, as you know, is a Canadian company. And I called them and we spoke, and he was telling me that actually right now they are in discussion with Ally. So it is likely that in the next couple of 3 or 4 months, Ally is now going to be integrated directly into Brightspace, just like the way it is in Blackboard. So they told me this, that's why they're working on that, and we are telling them we can't wait to make sure that is done, because the issue we are having is that it's too much a heavy lifting work to go through each of the content and do the accessibility check. So that is some information that I would like to share with you. And finally, these are some of the resources that I put here. And I also provided the direct links to the various free tools that I spoke about. And at the end of the presentation, of course, is going to be posted. And if you don't have any question, of course, I am available to answer those questions. So now I'm going to turn it over to Lara. Lara, it's up to you now.
Thank you, Selom. I'll be talking about Blackboard and Blackboard Ally. And Blackboard's current state of accessibility is far behind Canvas and Brightspaces. They do have a VPAT available, but it has not been updated since WCAG 2.1 was released last July, and it was done in-house. Also, unlike D2L and Canvas, Blackboard does not have built-in features to help guide instructors with creating accessible content in their WYSIWYG editors, or any built-in features to evaluate that content. It's also difficult for people who have more technological HTML knowledge to edit in the WYSIWYG guide remediation because there's no code wrapping or syntax highlighting. So at College of DuPage, we're really excited to get Blackboard Ally. It is an additional cost. And basically at this point, we are in a pilot for spring. We have 40 instructors participating, and we're looking forward to hearing more of their feedback. It's still a little too early to know what their thoughts and what students are about Ally. So Ally integrates directly into your learning management system. It also works with content management system. So a lot of us were talking about either recently making or seriously thinking about making our college websites accessible. So Ally could also help you with that. And it basically provides different features depending on your role at the institution. So for administrators, it provides a really robust report and analytics that you can drill down into to see the state of accessibility at your school. You can drill down into courses and programs and even share this information with your disability services, staff, and other key stakeholders. For faculty and staff, it scores all of your content that's uploaded into Blackboard in addition to your WYSIWYG content, and gives you step-by-step instructions on how to remediate it and make it perfectly, or as perfectly as the content can be, accessible. And the most exciting aspect of the product is that for students, they are able to download alternative formats that adapt to their unique context, preferences, and needs. So Ally checks basically the same things that the other tools that were talked about check all against WCAG 2.0. They are working on adding WCAG 2.1 support criteria to their evaluation. And then here's the institutional report. The graph on the right shows a breakdown of all the content uploaded to the LMS by file type. So you can get a really nice bird's eye view of the kind of content that your faculty are creating and sharing with students. It also tells you the total number of courses you have, and it will let you break down accessibility issues by how frequently they appear across the institution, which can help you decide how you want to tackle and attack this. And if you're lucky enough to have student workers, they could help. And for instructors, on the right here, this is what they see when they open up the accessibility score for a particular file. So it's going to give them just an overall accessibility score. It'll start with the first issue that's identified. So in this example, the PDF is untagged. What I really like is that it explains, if instructors click on what this means, it not only explains what untagged means, but why it's important to fix it and how it benefits your students. Then faculty can click on the How to Tag a PDF button, and they'll get step-by-step instructions for remediating that PDF. They're encouraged to re-upload and rescore, and it really promotes this sort of gradual gamified remediation workflow. We had one instructor who got 100% and was super excited, and I'm sure her students were too. And then alternative formats is really exciting. So there are currently 5 alternative formats available for students, and they can bring these up on any file that's attached in your Blackboard course. So HTML is great if they're using their mobile device. The content's going to flow way better. Tagged PDF, which will help with navigation for screen reader users in particular. EPUB, which is my personal favorite, being visually impaired, allows me to edit the font size and spacing, whereas a PDF, all those kind of choices are burned in. And then for those of you who joined the keynote, you saw Vance talk about electronic Braille, and this allows all the Blackboard content to be read by an electronic Braille reader. MP3 is also exciting, allow our students to listen to content on the go. Currently, these features are not available in the mobile apps, but they are available on mobile web and should have Safari support soon. One thing to note for instructors, the alternative formats do not in any way affect or overwrite your original documents, and the original copyright of your content is maintained. And here are just a few resources if you want to learn more about Ally. I'll put links to these in the chat. So there's a ton of documentation available on the Blackboard help site for faculty, students, and administrators. There's an entire adoption toolkit with tons of cool stuff like handouts, flyers, and surveys. Currently, typically they start off by having an on-site visit, and then they provide you an implementation plan. So again, we're currently in our pilot phase. We're going to roll out, calling it a soft launch for summer since we have far less course sections running, and a full launch in fall. And they have a super robust and friendly online user group, and it's maintained by the original Ally team before they were acquired by Blackboard, and their developers are super responsive to new ideas and suggestions and any issues that you're having. That's all for me, except if you're super interested in Ally, they are touring this year on the road to Inclusivity, and they are literally bringing a Ally van. So check the user group to see if they'll be making a stop near you.
Thanks, Lara. So we have our 3 experts here, Kona, Selom, and Lara. If any of you have any questions about specific aspects of these accessibility features in any of your LMSs, now is the time to ask, to get a perspective on it. You can use the chat room or you can raise your hand. You can also respond via video as well. So does anyone have any questions at this time for any of our presenters? So they also had, we'll put this presentation up later so you can have access to some of the hyperlinked hyperlinks within the PowerPoint so that you can have some of the information available to you. Thanks, Lara, for putting that the user group in there. Having seen, Vandana, go ahead. I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off. Great information. Thanks for the transition. I would like to thank Kona, Selom, and Lara for this presentation. Can we all give them a round of applause through the chat room, please? As a reminder, just to let you know, our final session for this year's conference is today at 2 o'clock with the session Digital Access and You, presented by Becky Bankert from College of DuPage and Mike Maxey, also from College of DuPage. Links to the live sessions will be found in your registration confirmation email. If you have any questions on your registration or accessing the sessions, please contact Jeff Newell, and his information is here. Archives of these presentations will be available at the conference site on ilcco.net following the conference. Thanks for attending, everybody. I hope this information has been valuable. Have a good day, everyone.